Problem is, this is going to get worse when we talk about the government. You know, the government is supposed to be there to help and protect your rights as a landowner. Looking for a reason to get offended these days? No, I ain't buying it. Why are 55 people bringing lawn chairs, coolers, snacks, and beach umbrellas into my backyard to hang out all day? Be careful where you buy land. Things have changed a lot. The speed of the degradation of property rights owners is getting faster and faster. Hey guys, let's talk about your rights as a property owner, or should I say lack thereof, when you buy land in certain areas. Let's get into it. All right, so today we're going to do a case study out of Colorado of a landowner that had a nightmare, and we've had very similar situations to this. So let's talk about it. Okay, so this nightmare started with this person, this lady. She bought her dream home with a creek running through the backyard. That sounds all good to begin with, doesn't it? When a Colorado woman bought her dream home on a quiet rural spot with a creek running through the backyard, she thought she hit the jackpot. Instead, she was soon dubbed the Wicked Witch of the West by locals and had to fight the government for ownership. So what happened is, she said her American dream got shattered and your rose-colored glasses punched off your face. That's how she describes this. So she bought this beautiful home with just over an acre of land in January 21 because they lost their housing. They were renting and the owner decided to move in and they kind of got kicked out. So they're like, okay, we're going to have to get some new housing. Let's just jump in and actually buy something. So, and back then there was obviously bidding wars. So she bid $840,000 for this home and about an acre with a creek, $40,000 over the asking price, and they got the home. They felt so blessed. You know, their due diligence by securing an appraisal, title insurance, and an improvement location certificate. Then they waited for move-in day. They thought they had done their homework. It's all good. They're going to get to use their creek and enjoy life now. Well, not so fast. Not long after Romero and her fiance got the keys, they noticed a few people fishing in their backyard creek, which initially they're like, that's no big deal. After all, the property wasn't fenced yet, but they did plan to fence it here at some point down the road. But before they could erect the fence, swarms of locals began to descend on the creek once school let out for summer. So she says, I was like, why are 55 people bringing lawn chairs, coolers, snacks, and beach umbrellas into my backyard to hang out all day? She's like, it was bewildering. Like I said, someday, if I ever write a book or document, we've had several of these issues. This happens pretty regularly when especially an absentee landowner, when all the neighbors are using your property and this is their freeloader use. All the years they've been using it for free, not paying taxes, not maintaining it, none of that. It happens quite a bit, I'm here to say. So let's see how it progresses. Look at a picture here. That's her backyard. That's your private property. Can you imagine that? The problem is, this is going to get worse when we talk about the government. You know, the government is supposed to be there to help and protect your rights, in this case as a landowner. Now you're going to see the government, let's get into it. Let's finish it. So she was instantly worried about liability if something happened. You know, we got a lot of little kids, we got a lot of beer, a lot of moms on their phones. It was a recipe for disaster, she said. And after attempting to peacefully share the property with the locals, only for it to be trashed, Romero eventually put up no trespassing signs. But the signs enraged the locals. People, we hear this all the time when we buy land. All the neighbors are like, don't be putting up trespassing, you're going to piss off the neighbors. Well, why would it piss off the neighbors if you put no trespassing on your land? I'm not going to go on the neighbor's property. I mean, everyone's looking for a reason to get offended these days. No, I ain't buying it. So anyways, she put up the signs and the neighbors were enraged, many calling her a nasty woman, a land thief, and even Wicked Witch of the West. She paid $840,000 and they are calling her a land thief? Yeah, I don't think so. So many people believed the creek was part of the park. There was a city park there and they were outraged she was trying to stop them from using it. Some even began yelling at her and snapping trees in protest. And you see one of her signs here, private property, they defaced that. So you'd think, thanks for taking away our park. Sorry, it's not your park, and there's a legal and a right way if your government wants it to be a park. So here you would think that she reached out to her city officials to get some help with this situation, right? I mean, she owns it. She's paying taxes. She paid darn near $1 million for the property. Let's see what happens. She called the city to try and get things straightened out. Your park visitors are on my private property and I'm liable for them. We've got a problem. That's what she recalled telling county officials. They said they would research the matter, but soon hit her with a lawsuit instead. Jefferson County Commissioners sued Romero in 2022 for ownership of the land, claiming adverse possession accretion. I'm going to have to look that word up. Never heard of it. We've been buying and selling land in 7 different states. Never heard of accretion. So accretion basically means growth, like land sprawl or whatever. That's the definition of it. And public use via prescriptive easement. We know a lot about this. And we have friends that know a lot about this prescriptive easement. We know someone personally who lost a lot of money out of pocket on a situation like this, a raw deal. Anyways, I digress. The government should say, our survey says it's hers. We don't care what you believe because it's private property, and we believe in private property rights. I would agree that's what the government should have said, but they teamed up with the bullies instead, adds Romero. And here's the evidence. Here's her survey. She owns it, and then here's the park. So, sorry, park people, this ain't a public park. So let me just interject here quickly before we go on. If it sounds like I'm kind of a grumpy landowner kind of thing, that's not the case at all. I mean, we are landowners, land investors, so we know about this. We are not against public parks. We are not against people, who can't afford their own land, having places to go. Absolutely not the case. But as you'll see with the rest of the story, what I'm getting at is the way this was handled and the way the government handled it was very bad, in my opinion. Fed up and fired up, she took to TikTok, cheekily calling herself the Wicked Witch of the West. As she began documenting her real-life Salem witch trial, she gained more than 241,000 followers, with her videos amassing millions of views. Not only did social media get her story more exposure, Romero says it also attracted the helpers, the people all over the world who ended up writing the commissioners, attending meetings virtually, and making phone calls on my behalf, she says. After a long, hard battle, her lawsuit with the county was settled in May of 2023. 2 years this woman had to battle her own city or county, or both. Romero agreed to sell 0.099 acres of her land, including part of the creek, to the county for $250,000, and now it's part of the park. Cool. She was willing to do this. She didn't have to. She got some of her money back, but this county went about it all backwards. You don't go trying to take people's rights, and this is why we're careful where we buy land anymore. I'm telling you, we're not going to make some of the mistakes we have in the past for this reason right here. So meanwhile, the county erected a fence along the newly established property line, and they stretched a rope over the water to divide the public area from Romero's private property. Cool. But if the city wanted this in the beginning, they should have just bought it when Romero had to pay over asking price for it, right? Meanwhile, Romero retained 70% of her land and kept part of the creek. It was a win for me and a win for the community, she says. She then filed a separate lawsuit against the previous property owners for alleged fraud and for not disclosing public use or the government's claim of ownership on the land. The case went to mediation. The former owners offered a public apology, and the dispute was settled under confidential terms. It's kind of what happened to our friends. It's almost a simple case just like this. And the problem is the government wasn't there to help the legal person. We got laws, we're a nation of laws. This is a problem when we veer from those laws for certain ideals. So no longer the same. This concludes the feeling of having your American dream shattered and your rose-colored glasses punched off your face is something she says is extremely hard to describe. My faith in facts making a difference in this world was thrown away, she explained. It changed my worldview. Yes, we've been there, and that's how it feels. When the facts are clear, and I mean crystal clear. Most of these cases, the facts are clear. The problem is we have government officials, judges in that with, let's just say, ideals of what they think is a perfect world, but they stray from the actual letters of the law. I still constantly have nightmares where I'm guarding the creek and defending the line, she says. The experience was that traumatic. I get that. I totally feel for her. Spending that kind of money and then the public wants to use your land. No. If you want land, you can go work hard like everyone else. I mean, land is not for everyone, but if you want it, it's still America. You can still work and achieve it, the right way, the legal way, the financial way. If something like this does happen to you, she recommends buckle up, lean in, and remember that you are at war. However, you also have to be willing to come to the table to negotiate a deal, she says. That means being a fighter and a fence mender simultaneously. Now, she was fortunate this case worked out. It could have gone sideways in many other ways. Situations like hers undermine the buying and selling process and have huge implications for the entire real estate industry, she adds. I totally agree. If you can't follow the rules and laws, to protect property rights owners, that's what's happening. Wait till you hear some of the stories I got coming from why we moved from one state to another. In some of these areas and states with certain beliefs, you are losing rights as a landowner and a homeowner. Just every month, every year, they keep taking away your rights more and increasing squatter rights and people's rights who don't have a dog in the race, if you will. They don't have any skin in the game, but yet you're losing your rights because you paid for it and worked for it the hard way. Days after her lawsuit with the county, she found a sticky note with the word fair in a child's handwriting hanging on a tree. I grabbed it and it's hanging on the computer monitor in my office now and forever, says Romero. So in closing, be careful where you buy land. Things have changed a lot, I'm going to say, in the last 20 years, the last 10, and it's like the speed of the degradation of property rights owners is getting faster and faster. Let's hope we can pull some of that back now, starting this year, the new coming year. But just be careful where you buy land at, because these stories are they're a dime a dozen, and people are losing property rights as we grow, as communities get bigger. Your rights get smaller in certain areas, certain states. So hope this helps. Take care, and if you are looking for land, dream big. Take some steps to make it happen. I wish you all the best. Thanks.